So the message that I give to the kids is like, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is.
Hi all, and welcome to Grassroots Grind. I'm your host, Ray Ramputh. Now today, I chat with Grassroots coach Ochure from Tigers Juniors FC in Rainham. Hear how a parent turns coach, guides an under-8 squad, blending winning and development, and teams up with the parents to keep kids loving the beautiful game. Now before we get started, if you like what I post, please show your support by liking and subscribing my channel. Now let's dive in. So hello, hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'd like to introduce Ochure. Hello, Ochure.
Hello, Ray.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today. So, Ochure, let's start with your story today and how you first got into coaching and what's keeping you passionate over the years.
Okay, so way back around London 2012 games, I used to work for an organisation that used to do subsidised funding for coaching qualifications. So because I was part of the company, I did my level 1 coaching back in 2011. Not with the intention of getting into football or starting a career. It's just that I liked football. I could do the course and I did it. So done that way back when. Used to run and coach an adult football team for around 15 years or so. So that came in handy at that point. And then my son now is 8 years old. So when he started football back in reception, around about 4 years old, there were dads on the side. Some of them were interested, some of them weren't. I heard the comments and I was like, you know what, I probably need to step in here. So I started coaching his team probably around 3 years ago. And prior to that as well, I was doing a bit of coaching where he was as well. So it was like a Sunday soccer school, if you like. So probably for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been coaching and just love it, just enjoy it, working with the boys, teaching them about football, about life lessons, and just seeing the joy that they have and how they progress, really.
Great. And which club do you represent, and what do you think sets your club apart in the grassroots football community?
So our club is Tigers Junior Football Club, sort of based in Rainham, Hornchurch area, and I believe they were founded in 1987. Now the club is massive. I think we've got around 55 teams, going from they start in reception all the way through to adults and including girls teams as well. And I think what probably sets our club apart to others is the fact that it's a real community club. So it caters for all abilities, all genders. The volunteer, obviously Grassroots is obviously led by volunteers, but I think the community that they've created is great. The funding and the facilities that we have within the club are great, and I think every single coach that I've come across, I haven't met them all, but everyone seems to be passionate about what they're doing, and it is very much about the kids. It's not about the name of the club. It's just we're at Tigers for the kids, so that's why I think it stands out amongst many in the grassroots field.
Wow, and that's a fair lot of teams that your club have. And you mentioned there you have all girls teams as well, so you don't have any girls that's mixed into some of the boys teams?
From as far as I'm aware, there are some cases where that is the case. So you might have one girl within a boys team, but not mixed teams per se. So there are some girls that they're at a high level, and if they can play with boys teams, they get special dispensation from the FA, because ordinarily it would need to be a full girls team. But there are some cases where we do have some girls in teams on that dispensation.
Right. And do you have any personal ties to the team, like having a child who plays? And if so, you mentioned your 8-year-old son there, and if so, how does that influence your coaching style?
Yeah, he's actually 7. I'm aging him.
Sorry.
I didn't say 8. Yeah, just sort of coming back. So, yeah, my boy does play within the team. So how does it influence my coaching style? I think so. We started back in reception, so all through year 1, year 2. He's now in year 3. So I think that journey's been very much a journey of learning, reflecting, tweaking. Because when you have a son in a team, there's no two ways about it. There's obviously a bit more of an emotional investment there in that specific relationship. So sometimes the other boys might be getting a slightly different way of communication or coaching than it is with your son. And that was pointed out to me by my wife, my assistant manager as well. And I'm quite a reflective person in a way. So I would say initially it wasn't necessarily the easiest journey for either one of us. Although he enjoyed his football and it wasn't always like that, there's praise as well. But because obviously we have high standards and high expectations, that was a little bit, I would say, a miss at times. But now I think we're in a good space where he's enjoying himself, he's thriving, and he's just one of the players within the team. So there isn't any special or preferential treatment to him. He's just out there with his friends, enjoying himself. And I would like to think, whilst we're not perfect, but certainly I think we're in a good spot now, just in terms of how that coaching works with my son and the team.
Yeah, I get that. Do you feel that it's sometimes you find yourself, maybe if your kid's struggling, you find yourself probably getting slightly frustrated with them more than you would with any other kid because you know it's your child?
Yeah, exactly. So obviously I'm on the other side, the parents on the other side. So obviously if their kids are struggling, our team's quite a good team anyway, so the parents don't get too involved, but you will hear every so often them obviously get invested in their child like that. But I've just sort of now come to understand that, one, it's just not helping him. It's not helping the team, because if the team's not performing great, it's almost like that's a channel where you can sort of take a bit of frustration out, and it just found like it wasn't really benefiting him or me. It's not fair on him either. So yeah, it's difficult, but like I say, I feel like we're in a good place with that now.
Well, that's good to hear. That is good to hear. And it's also good to hear that feedback, obviously, from parent coaches who do have kids in the team. So take us, like, with the vision of your whole team now, like when you've come across some players who are struggling in your team, like whether it's behavioural or maybe skill development, how do you kind of handle those challenges?
So, yeah, each player is an individual within the team. I very much am focused on individual. I think at this age, whilst we're trying to teach them team dynamics and obviously how to build relationships and things of that nature, I think at this age it is very much about the individual within the team. So I have like individual, I call them plans. I suppose they are. So they're individual like development points for the players that have been mapped out. So alongside their parents, there's some things that we've identified that they're really good at, like their super strengths. Also some areas that we think that they can improve upon, or some things that they need to work on. So sort of set 2 for each player, and then like a team goal as well. And what that allows us to do is sort of channel and refine how we communicate with the kids, because we're not looking across their like a wide spectrum. We're focused in on these specific goals that we're trying to achieve with them. So it helps those conversations flow a bit better with the coach, but also from the parents as well, when they're on the car journey home and having that dialogue with their kids. And I think also within my team or our team, we set core values as well. So that's just in terms of how we respect one another, how we put in effort, how we are committed as a team. There is that ethos that the parents buy into as well. So one, it gives the kids an environment and like a frame of understanding of this is how we operate within this environment. So if they're outside of that, you may you have conversations to understand what's taking place. Maybe something's happened at school, maybe something's happened at home, maybe they didn't sleep that well the night before, maybe they just want to mess around a little bit. But like, I've got a good bunch of kids as well, to be fair, so it's not... because I've gone through from under sixes to under eights, I think in this time now, they're obviously a lot more understanding of what the expectation is.
Right.
Whereas in the earlier days, it may have been a little bit more challenging, I would say.
I see. And these individual sort of learning development plans, how, like, if you was to give a child, let's just say start of this year, a particular sort of development plan, how long do you give them that time to develop? Is it like a few months? Is it a term time? How long do you give them that sort of length of time to develop into those skills?
So I think that we would ideally look at it on a 6 to 8 week basis. So like pretty much every half term we'll sort of reflect and see how they've been progressing with that goal. That isn't necessarily that they need to achieve that goal within that time frame, but it gives us a good opportunity to just reflect and see how they've progressed. If they have progressed, then we'll switch it out with a different goal, essentially. So just to keep on building the player, essentially.
That's really interesting. And when you're giving the feedback, like say for example you had a game, or you had some training sessions with your kids in your team, how important is feedback in your coaching style? Like, do you prefer giving feedback openly, like in front of the team, or do you kind of tend to lean in with one-on-ones with your kids in your team?
Yeah, it depends really. It depends the nature of the point that you're trying to draw out, really. So if it's like a fundamental piece that I think would be good for the whole group, then that is when that would be voiced in front of the group. So it's before games or during training. I may have those sort of flyby drop-ins with the players where we might speak about a specific point, and it's just us there. Sometimes the assistant manager also may give give that point because he might take a slightly different angle or approach to it. So it varies really, but we do ensure that before games we're speaking one-on-one with players and then as a collective group. So yeah, like I say, it just depends on what the situation or the circumstances.
I see. And how do you manage in terms of parental involvement here? Like, what's your take on parents coaching from the sidelines during games?
Yeah, so I think it's obviously a big thing within Grassroots. I would like to think, not that I would like to think, so within my team, parents may say something from the side, maybe encouragement. It's a lot of encouragement, or there may be something that they might want their child to do, and they may voice that. But I'm quite comfortable in a sense with that. What I'm not comfortable with is when they're constantly saying to their kid, do this, and they're giving them information that is contrary to what we're giving them. So I think the trust and relationship that we've built with the parents, you won't really get too much from my team in terms of them really coaching from the side. But I'm not one of those coaches that say, listen, don't say anything at all, because I get it, they're parents and things of that nature. But I suppose if it was an issue or in a team, then I would certainly address it. And I have addressed it before at times when I felt like that was a bit too much from the parents.
Right. And you're the under 8s right now, correct? So you're on 5-a-side. So in terms of rotations, do you kind of rotate your kids in different positions, or do you feel as though you like to maybe have them play in what they feel could be their strongest position?
Yeah, so I would say during the under-7 season, there was a lot more rotation around the pitch, and we would sort of do that way. They'd probably play a block of around 6 or so games in a position, and then rotate around the pitch. So we did that quite consistently last year. I would say this year we're probably looking at around 70 or 65, 70% in the position that they would like to do. And then they'll rotate around the pitch there they will still do that as well, because I think it's fundamental, whether it's under 6, under 8, under 10, for them to still learn the dynamic of the pitch. So as we go through to under 7-a-side next year, there will be that rotation, because players need to understand the different areas and asks and dynamics of positions across the pitch.
What if that was the case, then what sort of time period, how many weeks would you have a child in one position before they rotate round to a different one?
So it's almost like they're playing two positions, because say for instance now, obviously I've got 7 people in my squad, so just by nature, not everybody can play in that same position across the pitch, because there's not that minutes of intent. So generally what we'll be looking at, say for instance somebody's playing striker, when they come back on the pitch when they come back on the pitch, they may be playing right wing. So it's almost two positions at the same time, because like I say, you literally can't keep them in one position across the whole game. But so without trying to overlay it, say someone plays 15 minutes or 17 minutes in their first stint on the pitch, the last 8 minutes they would come back in a different position, but that would be consistent. So that 17-minute bank would be consistent, and then the 8 minutes would be consistent, and then we'll sort of switch it around that way.
Right. And a little cheeky question here, actually. So if you were down a few goals, would you switch it up? Would you switch it up to the strongest areas of knowing what positions your kids play in?
That's an interesting one, actually. So I would say that I'm quite true to how I coach. So if I've sort of earmarked somebody to go to a position, then that's where they'll go. But the team's at a good level, so we're not really in that position too often.
You're smiling there, because I know it's a tricky one, because there's a fine line between that development and wanting maybe your kids to win the game, or wanting obviously the parents want to win the game, and totally appreciate it's sometimes all about the development sometimes. And I know some coaches, including myself, might get carried away and thinking, oh, I could just switch it up a little bit, have some kids playing their strongest part, knowing, hopefully in order to win the game. But it's sometimes it's a question of how a coach would deal with that and what you would do, I guess.
Yeah, I think that development is key, and we've got areas and focus of development, and obviously they've got their individual plans, but I do feel like the winning is also part of their development. So I know that some coaches are like, it's just all about development only, and I'm very much at the forefront of that. But I feel like developing a winning mentality. So the message that I give to the kids is like, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is, basically. So
it's a very good line. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's not original in a way, so, but so winning your tackles, winning your duels, winning your battles, basically, sort of giving them that mindset and that philosophy of wanting to win, which hopefully is something that will sort of spread outside of football in their lives. So, yeah, like I say, winning is certainly something that we look to do, but it's not at the cost of development as well, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do. And I guess, I think as you say, you got to strike that fine balance, because if you're all about developing, and if, for example, you're constantly, maybe a team's constantly losing for half a year, by the end of that season, the whole team might potentially, dissipate. It will just, parents just think, well, don't like it here, or the kids don't like it, the morale drops, and they tend to look elsewhere, and it can happen. I've seen that happen myself. It's so yes, there is a fine line there, I guess. So in terms of your team and the amount of teams that you have at your club, do you all, bringing it back down to a little bit of admin here, do you all get your kits from one area, one place, one shop?
Yes, we do. So basically, our home kits are supplied by the club. So they've got one supplier that they use for that, basically. In
Right.
terms of the away kits, they are normally, well, they're from the team, essentially. So most teams, majority teams would have a sponsor. So we've got a sponsor that sort of paid for our kits, basically. But yeah, essentially, if we need anything new or like a new sock or a new jersey or anything like that, we generally will go to that one shop that they've had a relationship with for well over 20 years now.
Are you able to provide us a name of that shop or their presence?
I can do, yeah. So like I said, we're based in the Hornchurch area. There's a shop called Trophyland, which is just by
Okay.
Hornchurch Station,
Yeah.
and yeah, very very much king of kits and trophies. So
Right.
a very very good business.
Great. Good stuff. And what what does grassroots mean to you?
Grassroots. You can see the smile that puts my face. So I like the purity of grassroots. I like it's the fact that it's the place where most of us came through. I came through grassroots. I'm pretty sure, if not yourself, many people that have done. And it's that starting point, it's that foundation. And I just feel like for kids to be able to sort of wake up or look forward to a Sunday. It's not even about just waking up on a Sunday. Like my kid would say to me, he'll be playing like on Sunday. Like he's very much geared towards his Sundays. Like he buzzes for it. And listen, as a coach, I do, and I think the parents do as well. So I just like that it's an environment that kids can come, enjoy themselves, learn. I say no pressure. There is pressure that's put on kids, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I feel sorry. My team is at a level where a lot of kids play in and around pre-academies, and they could have an opportunity to go and sign at the end of this year. And there's just something about that is good. Progression's good if you can do it, and it's the right environment. Go and do that. But there's something within me that's a bit like, what, that tug of grassroots. That I'm a bit like, wish we could just stay together for a few more years.
Yeah. What division do your team currently play in?
So we play in the Echo League, and we play in the Argentina division. So that's the top division.
That is the top division. Yes, yes. So I take it that's probably why you're discussing academies, because I think what at that level, academies are looking to bring players in. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically, as it goes into the under 9 season, players will officially sign with academies, so they'll just play academy football essentially. So in this 2-year period that I've been coaching the team, we've always had players in and around that pre-academy environment, which is for a 2-year period. Players will train with various professional clubs. So yeah, my son's been involved, and other players have been involved. And whilst that is nice for them, I think the feeling that they get when they come together on a Sunday and we train as a team, I feel like it's unmatched. It's not that I only feel. I've had comments from the players as well. Yes.
That's great. Great to hear. And if there was something that you want listeners to take away from our chat today in regarding to grassroots, if anything, what would it be?
I would say that I think what's key is the relationship with the parents and the kids. I feel like in grassroots, right, like you can see it far too often where parents are getting far too involved with the coaching on the side, or a bit too heavy with their kids if they haven't performed. And listen, like I say, I'm a parent. It's not easy to navigate, but I feel like we just almost need to give the game back to the kids and let them enjoy themselves. Like, don't put too much on them. If they play well, they play well, and yeah, praise it. But I feel like parents sometimes go too high and too low, And I feel like a kid of 7 years old, they do need that praise, and they may need to know a little bit about where they can improve, but it should never be heavy, where like the kid's feeling upset and down because they didn't go and perform on the pitch. So that would be my key message. It's all about the parents and the relationship they have with the kids and the coaches also.
And do you feel that that's a little bit more so, bearing in mind you're in like the top division within the Echo League? Is that pressure kind of on more for those kids or for those parents
I,
because of that level?
yeah, I would say so. I would say so. It is when you see what some of these kids are doing at this young age, like the level is really high, and I feel like there's a lot of comparison that parents would have with teams or players. So it's almost like, if Freddie's not done it over there, so Freddie's doing that over there, how comes you're not doing this here? And I just feel like it certainly is toxic. For it to be like grassroots, I feel like it's very toxic, just in terms of some of the conversations and stories that you sort of hear going around from parents on the sidelines.
Interesting. And if someone's listening to this and thinking about becoming a grassroots coach, or potentially bringing their kids into a grassroots football team, what advice would you give them to get started on their own journey?
So I would say yes, do it, most definitely. I feel like grassroots is a great place for kids to develop and thrive and enjoy themselves. I would say, as a parent, they will need to certainly communicate with their kids, have that conversation with their kids, just to see what it is that they want to do. Because some kids, literally, they just want to play football and that's it. Like people like my kid or other kids, they have an aspiration to be professionals. Yeah, let's face it. The vast majority of the kids, they're not going to be professionals, but that's the desire, the aspiration that they have. And what I would say is that just choose the club quite wisely, because some clubs cater to different things. So it depends who your child is and what it is that they want to do. So just do a bit of research and homework on what club it is that you want to join, and just ensure that you're ready to give ownership to the coach to sort of take on your child's journey and almost sort of walk alongside them rather than try and lord over them, as it were.
Great, thank you. I want to thank you for your time today, Ochure. I appreciate you having the time to talk to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate the shout. Yeah, great work that you're doing, Reyes. Thank you.